Hello, I'm Annika Eriksson, founder and CEO of Articheck, and I'm going to share with you today, in the interest of time, part of the presentation given at COP26, a selection by Johan Falk, who is the director of the Exponential Roadmap, who set the Paris Accord targets. And then following that, my own presentation at COP26 about how culture can shift to more sustainable practices and about why that's important. And finally, I will give you some practical next steps as to how you can address these targets in your own organization in 2022 and beyond, so that we can meet those important targets. Let me share my screen.
Both encourage, of course, these companies to utilize digitalization, but I also encourage the digital companies to move in and actually figure out what they can do with their innovation capability in these industries. I also encourage new disruptors to move in and disrupt the old industries and show how you cut 90%, not 5%. We're talking 10x because that's exponential thinking. Cut out 90%, provide something which is better. The problem in some of our traditional industries, that is that it's not been innovation driven. We need millions of innovators and entrepreneurs moving into these industries and actually shifting the game. And I do think digitalization and people coming from the digital industry, as we've seen in cars.
To be catalysts.
Exactly. They need to be catalysts to actually drive the change. And I also encourage every engineer, software developer, and people working in the tech companies, take this to your heart, think about what you will develop, tools for design, artificial intelligence, what should you use the technology for, put it in the service for humanity, for climate, nature. And that's what we need millions of entrepreneurs and engineers to do. And we have a lot of them in these big companies.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Johan. Can you stay along in the audience for a while, because you might get questions from the house.
Sure, I will do that.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Just step down and rest for a bit, and I'm going to introduce the next speaker. We turn to a different subject. Well, not really, because this is also, of course, digitalization. It's I'd like to welcome Annika Eriksson. She is CEO of Articheck. And Articheck is a company that is a platform for faster, easier, and more secure condition reports. So it's a passport for art and for antiques. And the passport gets stamped at each point of movement and condition change. And Annika is a paper conservator turned entrepreneur. And let's now hear from Annika Eriksson.
Hello, I'm Annika Eriksson, founder and CEO of Articheck. We create pioneering technology tools that support preservation of our cultural heritage and our planet. With our tools alone, most arts organizations can meet their 2030 goals. But why is this important when there are many other industries with a much larger footprint? As Nigel Topping said in April, it's society who must hold everyone accountable to the agreements that will be made at this summit. And the arts help society think, to process our collective past and consider the future. So a key part of our strategy in this decade of change should be to harness the arts to educate society on the challenges, plans, and actions being taken to end this emergency, and hopefully take our places as heroes of the future rather than the villains. And the impact even one artwork can have is incredible. Take Guernica, created for the Spanish Pavilion at the International Exposition in Paris in 1937, following the German bombing of the Basque town. This painting became a symbol against the barbarity and terror of war. So we all know we need to act fast on climate change, and COVID has hit culture hard. Here in Glasgow, half of the city's 160 cultural organizations have no plans to reopen due to financial distress. We must work together and create a plan to save the arts, and sustainability is the key to long-term success. As we rebuild, the good news is that both public and private cultural sectors have started taking sustainability seriously and are working together to find solutions. More than ever before, technology is facilitating this collaboration and making complicated systems change possible. For most arts organizations, the biggest environmental impacts come from staff travel, shipping methods, and buildings. So let's talk about how technology and innovation can help us address these issues. First, travel. During COVID, staff travel was not possible, and the industry was forced to improvise and oversee transit and installation remotely via tools such as Zoom and WhatsApp. However, for long-term success, ad hoc tools aren't secure enough, and it's confusing to have to understand and conform to each institution's protocols. That's why my company, Articheck, decided to build a platform which is now being trialed in the industry. For example, for a loan not far from here, from the Arts Council collection of a Grayson Perry tapestry at the Dick Institute. For systems change to take place, government should supply museums with this tool as an industry standard. So far, it saves an average 50 tons of CO2s and $50,000 for each project. Now, shipping. The quantity of art being moved around the world is greater than ever before, mostly shipped by air. In a recent case study, 31 Gary Hume paintings and sculptures were shipped from London to New York by sea, saving 24 tons of CO2, 96% compared with air. 96% better, I should say. The Gallery Climate Coalition was formed 1 year ago and started lobbying art insurers to make sea freight more easily insurable. In response, industry leader AXA XL Fine Art spearheaded new guidelines, which we've baked into our tool so shippers can demonstrate compliance globally. Tech is helping the art world enact change, but for long-term systems change, we also need our governments to take an active role. Government should provide the tools mentioned here today directly to museums, connecting the issue with the solution, rather than leaving museums to reinvent the wheel and each come up with their own answers, which we frankly don't have time for. So we propose an accelerator program to provide museums with training, mentors, technology, and community. This kind of accelerator program works well for entrepreneurs and could apply to many industries that are reluctant to make the necessary changes. As part of this accelerator pilot, one artwork will be created for each G20 country to highlight the agreements made at COP26 and to be shown at an exhibition traveling to 10 museums in each country, 200 museums in total. So with an estimated budget of only £10 million, we can educate millions. As trusted educators of society, museums and galleries are crucial to driving exponential change. So please get in touch to make this happen. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Annika Eriksson, and I really can't wait to see this exhibition. We're not.
So, what can we do? Practical next steps. One thing that you can do is try virtual courier to reduce your staff travel in 2022. I really encourage you to do this. It's a really low-hanging fruit for most arts organizations. It's a very significant part of your carbon footprint if you deal with couriers, and it makes a whole lot of sense. Bookend couriers are a great option, and when you have multiple different stakeholders overseeing transit and installation, it makes a lot of sense to have a secure online platform where you can all collaborate. So please do try this and be in touch with me for more details. We are offering currently a free trial if you are trying virtual courier out before the end of March. So if you would like to try it out on an upcoming loan in the next few months, again, please be in touch. This is an easy thing to do as a first step. Now, another thing you can try is identifying an upcoming move that would be appropriate for sea freight. This is another area that we're getting into, and we're also working very closely with international insurance experts on it, and reducing risk in various ways. So again, if you're interested in that, particularly maybe for an upcoming sculpture exhibition, for example, please do be in touch, and we are very happy to help you save 96% of your carbon footprint compared with air by going with sea. Now, another thing, of course, is buildings, and museums have had the Bizoit Green Protocols since 2008, but they have largely gone unadopted. So we propose a pilot project where we collaborate with environmental sensor data company, and we integrate so that you can have cause and effect together. So you can select a pilot space, a display or a storage space, and make this the Bizoit protocol space, do a survey and identify any very fragile objects that you need to remove or put in a microenvironment, upload your object details into Articheck, and place a couple of sensors from the sensor company in the space. We will then integrate and then provide you with a report at the end of an agreed period of 3 or 6 or 9 months, which will hopefully say, hey, everything is fine here. You can show that to the management, and you can then take a decision, hopefully, to adopt the Bizoit protocols in more spaces throughout your galleries and display spaces. It's also a great idea to upload any kind of sustainability success stories that you have to the Keyport, which is part of Key Culture, which is a nonprofit organization based in Amsterdam and the US that is helping support arts organizations and heritage organizations to go green with their key books for resources and a community space, as well as a champions and futures program. So I really encourage you to also check those out. Please be in touch with me at Annika, ANNIKA, at articheck.com if you would like to explore any of these practical solutions to help you reduce your carbon footprint in 2022 and beyond. Thank you very much.